When's the last time you've loved on yourself? Self-love is really popular right now. It's kind of blowing up, which is great. And um, what I'm finding is missing is the physical self-love. Oftentimes, I'll be in public and um, I have a strong desire to have PDA with myself, public display of affection, and then I'll feel embarrassed about it. Um, and that's just so interesting for me to notice because I'm like, how come when I do PDA with another person, with a partner, how come that's acceptable? And then why would loving on myself be any different? I'm just thinking about how common it is for us to be so mean to ourselves, to be really hard on ourselves, put a lot of pressure, judge ourselves. If something goes wrong, we make a meaning out of it that, like, oh, there's something wrong with us. And I'm just like, how come we're not loving on ourselves more? This is strange to me. I find this really weird. That's the thing about internalized depression, though, is um, you don't even notice that it's happening. It's like the pool that you're swimming in. You don't notice the temperature of the water. Because somehow the pool that we're swimming in is full of violence and hatred, but it's so normalized that, like, we literally don't even notice it. But I notice it in the absence of self love in all of the forms. But I'm interested in practicing physical self love. When two people showing affection to one another incites violence in somebody else who witnesses that, that is an illness. Something is off. It's not how um, the universe was designed. The fabric of the universe is love. We are the universe. We are love. How could it be that our displays of love can incite violence? I'm thinking about same sex couples showing their PDA and how that can incite violence in other people. And I can't help but think that that's correlated to the absence of personal PDA that we don't show in public. It's not obvious, but it's there. You just gotta look deep into it and you'll see it. You'll see how the dots are connected. I invite you to love yourself. This is how you create secure attachment in your relationships. If you don't love yourself, then you're gonna be seeking validation outside of yourself. And it's important to rely on other people for things, but not to be our sole source of validation, because that's going to have you really out of balance and grasping outside of yourself pretty often. Self love is inner peace, and I think it's a very rare thing in today's society that is so shaped by imperialism, capitalist, white supremacist patriarchy. Like, that's the pool that we're swimming in. And it's so rare within this pool to, like, just really fully love yourself just because of all of the traumatic experiences that we have had that have been passed down from generation to generation, and then we play it out amongst ourselves and then we pass it down. So this is a radical act. This is a radical act that literally changes the universe because you are one drop in the pond and your drop bleeds into the other drops. You influence the other drops. You're here watching me love on myself, and watch, now you're gonna love on yourself. Do you see how this works? Please go love on yourself. Let's pump this pool full of abundant love, starting with ourselves. And you'll notice how stabilizing and grounding this is for you. At least it is really grounding for me. That's why I want to do it in public. When I feel dysregulated, I'm like, oh, I just need to be there for myself. Touch is my number 2 love language, followed by quality time. Touch super duper grounds me, so even touching myself grounds me. Um, So oxytocin is the love hormone, and 20 minutes of cuddles or touch will produce this hormone in your body. And when you practice self-compassion and when you touch yourself in a kind, loving way, the same oxytocin is released, which is like a happy drug. Um, so literally love yourself. Even if you don't feel it right now, practice it because you're gonna get drugged up. It's gonna feel great, and it will eventually create change in your thoughts too. If you're talking really down on yourself all the time, start here. Start loving on your body. Um, 10 minutes, even 5 minutes before you go to bed each night, or when you wake up in the morning, say, "Good morning, I love you," and kiss yourself. Hug yourself. Be excited that you're alive and that you're with yourself in the morning, the same way you would be excited to wake up to a partner. And if you're partnered, especially if you are monogamous in your relationship, it is especially important to love on yourself. When you're monogamous, you don't have any other sources of relationships to compare your relationship to, and so it can be harder to notice when you're being abused. And abuse is a spectrum, right? Like there's extreme violence, and then there's just like things that tear down your spirit. But we live in this pool that is so that it's really hard to even notice or identify abuse when it's happening. Loving on yourself will set a very clear expectation of how your body deserves to be treated with love. This is the only way. This is the only possibility with love. And so when anything deviates from this, it'll be super clear, super fast that it is a red flag and a boundary needs to be set, and your body needs to get back into love because it will receive nothing else. You set the precedent for how people treat your body. Because you know what you're willing and unwilling to receive. When you give yourself what you need to receive, then that's what you're going to start receiving from others. That's the only thing you'll accept because you don't know any differently. And when you're polyamorous, well, it's easier because you have a lot of different relationships you can compare it to. And it's really easy to notice that, ooh, this one doesn't feel as good as this one. What's happening there? And even so, if you're polyamorous, still love on yourself because, again, you're setting that baseline for yourself. I can't stop touching myself now. It feels so good. Oh, I feel those hormones. Okay, go love on yourself. And go love on your loved ones. Ask consent first. And then go do it.